This has been a remarkable story. To see this team go through 4 quarterbacks, to see Deshaun Watson start and then go down and then come back and then go down, to see Amari Cooper and this passing game look the way that it looks right now, with Joe Flacco coming off the couch.
You used a word in reference to the Browns defense earlier, historic, and you're right on the money. A physicality element with the Browns on that defense. They got a little of everything on that defense. At all 3 levels, they are pretty strong. You add in the coaching into it, and yeah, we got something special going on.
Could you ask for a better Christmas gift than this one?
Yeah, this will definitely make Christmas very enjoyable. It's going to be awesome to see the family, and it's going to be an awesome Christmas. Yep.
All right, you guys. I mean, it's time to have a serious conversation about this Cleveland Browns team because they don't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon, and they're finally playing up to the level that everyone knew they could coming into the season. I mean, the issue with this team was never the talent on offense, and it was definitely never the talent on defense. It has always been the quarterback position, which is why they went out and traded for Deshaun Watson. But as we all know, he wasn't playing his greatest football, and then he went down with a season-ending injury. But now that they've got a veteran guy in the game in Joe Flacco, this offense looks to be clicking on all cylinders, and they just went into Houston and absolutely boat rushed this team from start to finish. This is a team that I would not be looking forward to playing in the playoffs, not only because they have a great defense, but it looks like Joe Flacco not only can play really good football, but he's also been clutch in the big moments, and that's not somebody you want to play against in a playoff game. But before we dig all the way into this team, if you like Browns content just like this, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Browns videos for the remainder of this season. Okay, so to just get right back into it, I want to start with the offense and Joe Flacco, and especially Amari Cooper, because they just put on a show, and it's not something that you see very often in the NFL. Firstly, that guy Joe Flacco, I know he didn't have the greatest game last week against the Bears, but of course we all know he came up in clutch time and found a way to win the game. But in this game, man, this is exactly what you picked him up to do, if not more than what you expected, which is really, really good considering he was coming off the couch. He now looks like he knows what's going on in the offense. He looks poised, calm, and collected, and his arm strength is 100% there because I saw him multiple times chunk the ball down the field with good velocity and put it right on the receiver's chest, and that, of course, is going to make a team have a lot of success. But when you add talent to really good quarterback play, you're going to get even better results, and that's exactly what we've seen from this Browns team, especially in this Houston Texans game. As we all know at this point, Amari Cooper went absolutely crazy, breaking the franchise record for receiving yards in a game, and I feel like every time Joe Flacco threw the ball to him, he found a way to come down with it, regardless of how hard the catch was. I mean, he was either catching it over somebody, under somebody, between somebody, or he was just getting wide open due to his route running, which proves to me just how elite this guy really is, and when you give him opportunities to make plays, he's going to make the best of them. And while I know this game is crazy, and it's going to be remembered in history forever, what's more important to me about this game than even Amari Cooper's receiving yards is the fact that Joe Flacco is finding chemistry with every player on this Browns team, and that is super promising to see. A big issue that happens when you bring in a new quarterback is that it takes him a long time to build a connection with all the players on the team, but Joe Flacco has done that pretty fast, and he's done it with multiple different players. Of course, we just saw the connection with Amari Cooper stand out in this game, but ever since he got here, he's also had a great connection with David Njoku, and once again, David Njoku had a pretty solid game, even though Amari Cooper got all the spotlight. He still had 44 yards on 6 receptions and a touchdown, which are pretty solid numbers for a tight end. They just didn't get talked about as much. So when I look at this Browns offense, I see a quarterback that can operate the offense at an extremely high level. I see a play caller that I'm starting to like a lot more in Kevin Stefanski, and I see a weapon group that is now getting more recognition due to them having a quarterback that can actually get them the ball. Now, the only downside to this team is I feel like they are putting too much on Joe Flacco's plate at times due to the fact that the run game hasn't been living up to the level that everyone wants them to live up to. I like Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt as a duo, but it just seems like they aren't getting great movement up front, and these guys just aren't having a ton of success. And of course, when you don't have a ton of success in the run game, you're going to have to throw the ball more, which can hurt you down the stretch, but to be completely honest with you, I'm not too worried about it because the Browns have, obviously, the best defense in the entire NFL, and it's not very close. And when you have the best defense in the NFL that can pretty much stop anyone, the offense can afford to make a few mistakes here and there. Speaking of the defense, though, we've got to talk about about it because they showed out once again against the Texans, just like the offense. And outside of 2 touchdowns in garbage time, they absolutely dominated this Houston Texans team. And when you think of the Browns defense, the first thing that comes to your mind is the defensive line and Myles Garrett, and they showed why they're the first thing you think about in this game. Myles Garrett might not have had any sacks, but we all know the impact he has regardless of sack numbers. But a guy that did have some sacks is Zadarius Smith, and he was all over the quarterback just like Myles Garrett. He just got home. So when you look at the defensive line, the scariest part is probably the edge rushers. But what's crazy is that you also have guys like Dalvin Tomlinson and Shelby Harris who can also get after the passer, which makes this defensive line overall a pretty unfair unit to play against. But we all knew this defensive line was going to be one of the best coming into the year. But what we didn't know is how good the linebackers would be, and they have exceeded all expectations in my opinion. And it starts with that guy JOK, because man has he been playing lights out week in and week out, flying around the field, making tackles in the backfield, and of course in the Texans game finding a way to get an interception. He is just an all-around really good linebacker, and he's playing exactly how you want a linebacker to play. So with him playing as well as he is, combined with the fact that the defensive line is so good, you get an overall front seven that's going to be dominant, and that's exactly what we've seen from the Browns all season long, and especially in this Houston Texans game. Now, I will say, some people did have questions about the secondary as well, and they have answered all the questions that anyone had because they have been playing at an extremely high level on top of how the front seven has been playing. I know they're missing Grant Delpit, but even without him on the field, they've still been able to play at a really high level and doing a great job of guarding up receivers, even if the receivers are supposedly elite. Denzel Ward, of course, is a great corner 1, and I love that he's back on the field now. Greg Newsome is a perfect corner 2, and Martin Emerson is a perfect corner 3 to pair with both of them, which makes this corner room honestly one of the better overall corner rooms in the NFL, which is pretty scary to say the least. And then of course at safety, you're missing Grant Delpit, but the safety play has still been pretty solid with all things considered. So to be honest, I think the Cleveland Browns are the only defense in the whole NFL that can say they're complete at every position group, and when you combine that with the fact that their offense also looks pretty complete in their own right outside of a few issues, you're going to have a team that, like I said at the start of the video, is going to be really scary to play against and going to be really hard to beat. They're doing everything right now, and that includes coaching, and most importantly, they're getting hot at the exact right time. And when you're as talented as this team is, and on top of that, you're really hot, you're going to have a chance to make a run in the playoffs. I mean, they're currently the 5th seed in the AFC, which means they're going to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in round 1. And we already saw that game not too long ago with Joe Flacco playing, and the Browns found a way to win. But the most interesting thing to me is the fact that the Browns are only 2 games behind the Ravens at this current point, and the Ravens have the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Steelers to finish the season. So who's to say they don't lose 2 or 3 of those games? I know it's a long shot, and I think the Browns have a chance with the 5th seed. Their chances to go far in the playoffs go even higher. But that's just my opinion, so I'm still curious to know what you guys are thinking in the comments below about this Browns team. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and with that being said, I'll catch all of you guys in the next video.